All right, kidlets. We are taking higher order derivatives here. The first video talked about how to tell their graphs apart. Now we're going to look at some actual algebra. Okay. The first thing I want to talk to you about is notation. We know how to represent the first derivative, f prime of x, y prime, dy dx. The second derivative is represented by two little tick marks. So f double prime of x, y double prime. And the dy dx notation is a little different. So it's d2y over dx2. All right. Third derivative follows the same pattern. So again, we get another little tick mark on our f and our y, but our dy dx notation is d3y over dx3, and that means third derivative. Okay. Now I want to stress to you that you do not find higher order derivatives unless you are asked to do so. These things are very helpful when we're talking about curves. We can tell the behavior of a function based on what its derivatives do. But you do not just keep taking the derivative just because. If your directions do not specifically ask you something about the second or third derivative, please do not take a second or third derivative. That's not what we do, all right? So for 5 through 19, or 5 through 20 rather, the directions in the book say find the first and second derivatives of the function. So this is my function for number 6, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the first derivative just using the power rule. So f prime of t is equal to 8t to the 7th minus 42t to the 5th plus 8t to the 3rd. And that's my first derivative. It tells me to take the second derivative, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. F double prime of t is equal to 56t to the 6th minus 210t to the 4th plus 24t squared. The direction said find the first and second derivative. I have found the first and second derivative. These are my answers. All right. Now, of course, that is a very simple example, right? And your problems do get harder. So let's look at number 16, and we're going to work through it. Okay. It's 4x over the square root of x plus 1. I've rewritten it as 4x over x plus 1 to the 1/2 power. Okay, now this is the quotient rule. I'm going to ask you all to pause the video right now and say the quotient rule out loud to yourself, just to remind you. And then we're going to go ahead and move on. Did you do it? You need to say the quotient rule. Okay, we'll move on. Y prime is going to be the bottom times the derivative of the top. The derivative of 4x is 4 minus the top times the derivative of the bottom, and the derivative of x plus 1 to the 1/2 is 1/2 x plus 1 to the negative 1/2. Now, this is a composition of functions. So all of you who are sitting here thinking we need to implement the chain rule, pat yourselves on the back, because we do. In this case, the derivative of x plus 1, which is the inside of this function, is just 1. But if it had been a 2x plus 1 or an x squared plus 1, we'd have something else there. All right, and this is all over x plus 1 to the 1/2 squared. Okay. We're going to do some simplifying here, and I'm going to rewrite the square roots just to make it a little easier to see what's going on. So I have 4 root x plus 1 minus, this is 4x over the square root of x plus 1, and there's a 2 from that 1/2. 4x is in top, 2 is in bottom, square root's in bottom, all over x plus 1 to the 1/2 squared is just x plus 1. And what I need to do is I need to combine these two things So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a common denominator. Oh, what I need to do first, do you see this 2 and this 4? Those need to go away. I need to cancel out. The 2 is gone completely, and this becomes a 2 up here. Now my common denominator is the square root of x plus 1. This thing right here is my common denominator. All right, and I multiply this guy over here by the square root of x plus 1 over the square root of x plus 1. Y prime is equal to 4 times the square root of x plus 1 squared minus 2 over the square root of x plus 1 all over positive x plus 1, or just x plus 1. All right, what did I do? I went ahead and put the two fractions together. So here's the 4x plus 1, right? 4x plus 1 and that x plus 1. There's the squared. Minus 2, the 2 came from right there. And it's all over x plus 1, which was my common denominator here. And then again, over x plus 1, which was the denominator of the whole thing. I skipped a step, I'm sorry. All right. That is equal to 4 times x plus 1 minus 2 over the square root of x plus 1 over x plus 1. Okay, this is 4x plus 4 minus 2 over these two things right here, guys. Remember, dividing by fractions is easy as pie. We flip the bottom and multiply. Okay, this is the square root of x plus 1 times x plus 1. Okay, and what I did is I multiplied this whole thing by 1 over x plus 1. They end up here. This is 4x plus 2 over, now remember we talked about this in class the other day. If I have x plus 1 to the 1/2 and x plus 1 to the 1, right, first power, I can put them together. This is 4x plus 2 over x plus 1 to the 3/2 power. And that's my derivative there. All right, I'm going to stop the video here, and we're going to find the second derivative in another video just to keep them kind of short.